Good morning, and welcome to the League of Legends Learn to Play, hosted by FAU Esports Center and Gaming Center. My name is Tavis, otherwise known as Tavis King, and just a little bit of an introduction. I have been playing League of Legends for around 8 years. I've played in the amateur scene for a few years. I've played in the NALCS Challenger Series that was eliminated a few years back, and I've been playing for FAU A-Team for the past year. In the Collegiate Star League. I am going to be going into a few easy tips, tricks, and other different things that beginner and intermediate players should be looking to learn and perfect to try to get the most out of every game that they play League of Legends and, get that win. A couple of things that I am going to be going over. Starting with some beginner stuff. CSing, trading, backing, core stuff that every laner should want to know going into a game of League of Legends, as well as some more in-depth processes into every game of League of Legends. But first, a little bit more, just so everybody knows where I'm coming from. I have been playing the game for a really long time. I have been Masters for the past 5 seasons, currently Diamond 4 in the current season, so I do know a little bit about the game. Not saying I'm the best, but I do want to try to help everyone get to know some things that maybe you just missed or haven't really perfected, and just try to get that down packed so that we can be getting everybody as much LP as possible. First thing that I do want to go over that most people, they learn about going into the game, but I don't think people put as much importance on it. CSing, last hitting minions. Obviously, you want to be making sure that you last hit as many creeps as possible. Well, why is that? Because each minion gives you gold. Every minion that you get above your lane opponent, that's going to be giving you an advantage that is basically given to you. You don't have to outplay the opponent. You don't have to do anything special. You just have to make sure that you last hit those minions. The first wave, most people want to try to go for kills. The first 3 waves in the game give as much as first blood. And that in itself can win you a laning phase. Once you get a lead of 14, 15 CS, you've technically killed your opponent in terms of the gold. So you want to be looking to do that because it's the easier way to do it. You don't have to rely on the enemy making any mistakes. You can just sit back, relax, CS the minions, and you're already gaining an advantage 5 to 10 minutes into the game, not even put in any effort or breaking a sweat. But, most people will say, well, I try to go get the CS, but the other person just keeps fighting me every time. That's where we get into trading. Trading is basically expending health, mana, or cooldowns to get something in return. Most of the time, it's either to get more out of your opponent than what you spend, or to get those CS. Generally speaking, you want to trade in the early game, levels 1 to 3, when you see that the enemy wants to go and get a CS, or they want to go and get something else. They want to move forward. That's when you go to trade. So if you know that they want to go and last hit a minion that's about to die, they want to get that gold. Obviously, everybody does. That's when you would go and try to throw a skill shot at them, or throw an ability, because they don't have a time to react. They're spending their time hitting the minion. Another thing to look for in lane for trading is for level 2 trades. This works in top, mid, bot lane. Everyone should be trying to look for level 2 trades because that is what can win you the lane. Of course, when you have to know when you hit level 2. For solo lanes, top and mid lane, you're going to want to look for that first melee minion on the second wave. It takes 7 minions for the solo lanes to hit level 2. And if you can get that melee minion before your opponent does, that's when you go and look for an engage. You go in right there. As long as the enemy jungler's not sitting there, that's a whole other variable that I'll go over later. But for the most part, you hit level 2, they're still level 1, you have an extra ability to use. That's when you're going to want to go in. You'll get a huge trade, and then you can start pushing your advantage from there. Bot lane is a little bit different. It takes all 3 of the melee minions on the second wave to get that level 2, again, you're going to be wanting to, if you can get that advantage, look to immediately go on to your opponent, because instead of having one ability extra than your opponent, you now have 2. So you're going to want to go in as fast as you can if you can get that advantage, and if they give it to you. If they back up, forfeit, don't overextend, don't push, just stand in front, make sure you're pushing them away, make sure you're trying to gain something due to the advantage you got from getting the level 2 first. But in lower elos or in normal games or anything like that, if you get in a level 2 advantage, most of the time you're going to be able to flash on your opponent, trade on them immediately, and win the lane right there. They're either going to have to back or you're going to have to kill them, and lane's already over. Somebody has to come and help them to bring them back into the game. On that same topic, if you do gain that advantage from the level 2, you're going to be already ahead, which is where you can look for a level 6 trade. Having your ultimate above your opponent, level 6 to level 5, is an unspeakable advantage in most lanes. Unless you're playing something like Karma or Jace, something where your ultimate doesn't really have that much impact, but with most champions they do, you're going to want to, as soon as you hit 6, make something happen. Whether it's engaging on your lane opponent or going somewhere else and using your ultimate to maybe secure an objective, anything. Just having that advantage is key. That being said, once you do get that advantage and they hit level 6, you have to make sure that they don't do the same thing back to you while your ultimate's on cooldown. But having the initiative, being the first one to get something done, is always beneficial into your games. And then if you are successful with the level 6 trade, then you should be in a very good spot to just move forward throughout the game. You'll have a huge gold lead, experience lead, and move forward into the mid game. But those are 2 things that you really want to try to get down. How I would recommend practicing this: it is a little tedious, but for CSing, I personally like to, before I go into any ranked games, I like to spend 5 minutes just going into the training simulator or the training room and just don't buy any items, go into a lane, and last hit some minions. Now, you might be saying like, oh, that's a waste of my time, that's a waste of 5 minutes. I could be, in queue, getting dodged by some randoms. But I think for a warm-up, it's very good. Just 5 minutes, just make sure you get to 45, 50 CS. Make sure you drop as little as possible, because if you're dropping minions versus nobody with no pressure on you, how can you expect yourself to CS when you have to fight a lane opponent or look at the jungler or watch for the support coming to you? It just makes it easier, it makes it more fluid, and as a lot of people do say, I do agree with it, practice does make perfect. So that's a general idea. I do practice what I preach. Usually I do, especially when learning a new champion. You gotta learn to CS. If you're dropping minions to nothing, you're basically losing gold for free. It's not good. You're basically crippling yourself. It's not good. You want to try to get as much of an advantage for yourself as possible and lower the variables in the game as much as possible as well. Now for trading is a little bit more hard to practice. Of course you can go into the games and practice versus every game, just try to trade, learn what you can and can't do. But what I would recommend is if you have a friend that knows how to play the same role that you play, just go into a custom game. Play the lane out first 5 to 10 minutes. It really isn't that long. Sometimes, ranked queues take that long. 5 to 10 minutes, just play the early laning out against each other, figure out what you can and can't do. That way when you see it in game, you know exactly if you can go and take a trade or not, or if you just need to back up. It's quick, easy, you can even make it fun. I love playing against my friends in a custom game. It's real quick. You can always, talk smack about them if you beat them, or say they're cheating if they're not. It's good practice either way, and you're not losing LP for it, which is what we're trying to do. We're trying to gain as much LP as possible if we are grinding for ranked, and if we're just trying to be casual, play normal games with the friends, but do well, then you can just practice these in your normal games. Another key foundation to laning, whether it's top, mid, or bot lane, is when should you back off the map. What you're going to want to do is before you back, you want to make sure that you have a checklist. One, you want to make sure that you can back for something, that you're not just backing for health and HP. That is usually not going to be going well. You want to make sure that you're backing for either an item or to reset wards or get a pink ward. Make sure your back is meaning something. 2, you're going to want to make sure that before you back, the enemy doesn't have the opportunity to punish you. What does that mean? Well, I will bring this map up. For example, now this works for any lane, but I am going to bring up top lane here. Let's say that you're trading against the enemy laner. Both of you get pretty low, but you win the trade. What you're going to want to do before you back, since you are afraid that the jungler is going to come over, you do need to get off the map, you are too low, you're going to want to push the wave into the tower so that he has to sit under tower and CS the minions. This would be when you would go and back up, get back to base, buy your items, while he is resetting the lane, killing all these minions. What happens is his back time is going to be later than you, so he's going to come later to lane, and you'll be here while the CS is coming back to the middle of the lane for you to take. Then you have a couple options. You have complete control in the lane. You can either shove in and look to make a play somewhere else, look for the jungler, or you can keep it there and wait for him, and then he has to come and fight you while you've already had an advantage. But that's just a couple of things. You want to make sure that the wave is not in a bad spot for you when you go to back, because if it is left in a bad spot, like you leave it in the middle of the lane, he stays there, he pushes it in, you lose the entire wave. Now you're down gold and XP, even though you got the back off. He's going to come back with more gold and most likely win the trade. Or it forces you to outplay, which is not what we're looking to do. We're looking to get as much clean play as possible. That way when you do outplay, it's easy breezy, beautiful. Another thing that most people don't do, you see this happen in competitive games, college games, amateur games, normal games, ranked games, everywhere. When you are playing a squishy champion, like an AD carry, mid laner, even some top laners that can't really take dives, of course it's hard to see this coming. You need to have good communication in wards, but when you see that they are sending an over amount of people to come in, basically to your side of the map. So let's say, for example, this happens a lot in every game. We've got the mid laners dancing. We've got the mid laners chilling. Bot lane's doing their thing. Junglers over there. The enemy team decides to send support and jungle to come over to your mid laner, but nobody's really in the position to help. How does he avoid this? He has to just back up, recall. That way, all this time that they spend in mid lane, they aren't really getting anything. Yes, they might push for the tower. Yes, they might take a camp or two, but it's better than killing you. 90% of the time, it's going to be better than getting that kill. It saves you. It gets the back timing. Then you can come back to lane stronger, and then your teammate most likely will be able to help at that point, and you can make a play happen back on them if they're trying to stay for so long. But generally speaking, if you can see that they are coming, if the enemy team is going to spend a lot of their resources to try and kill you, you can just back up off the map, come back on with stronger items, even if it's just a little bit, and then you try to fight them instead of, being half mana, full HP, thinking you can survive the dive, and then they CC chain you and one-shot you under the tower. That's no fun. I've had it happen to me plenty times in top lane. It's not the greatest idea. You just want to get off the map, back up, make sure that they don't have the opportunity, make sure that they're wasting their time. Another thing that perhaps doesn't really seem to interest a lot of laners, but it's something that you should, even if you don't play jungle, think about when you are going into a game of League of Legends. So, jungle pathing. It's not really something that most laners think of, but it is essential to every game of League of Legends. You should try to understand what your jungler is planning to do and what the enemy jungler is planning to do. So, generally speaking, most junglers in the meta currently want to full clear their jungle or at least get to level 4 off of the scuttle spawn. Now, that means that they aren't going to have a lot of pressure most of the time in the early game. For the first 2 to 3 levels, you aren't really going to be seeing your junglers except for when they're farming their camps and pinging to get the scuttle crab. So generally speaking, most junglers will follow this path. They will do bottom buff into the bottom camp, which is either Krugs or Gromp, and then continue to path upwards and most likely go for the scuttle spawning. Now, that is pretty clear and cut. Anyone can change up their jungle pathing to throw you for a loop, but generally speaking, every jungler is most likely going to do that, or do it in the reverse, where they start top side camp, middle, blue buff, go for bot scuttle. Some junglers can do things different, like Udyr and Karthus. They're very niche picks, but they can do all the camps and still make it to scuttle before your jungler does. Is it a little strong? Yes, but it is something you need to watch out for. They could also forego scuttle and go to look to gank a lane. So it is really dependent on the junglers that you see in the game, but you're going to want to have a general idea of where they're going, what they're going to be doing, and what their game plan is. So again, most junglers like to farm. They like to do the full clear, buff, side camp, buff, scuttle, get the camp, or look to gank, and then get the camper back. So you might be saying like, oh, well, you said they can start on both sides. Well, how would you know what side they're starting on? Something that's really easy to do is if they're starting bot side, most likely the bot lane is going to be leashing. If the bot lane comes late to lane, they're not in there hitting the minions as soon as the minions are hitting each other, he probably started bot side. You know that he's going to be on this side of the map. So he does have a couple options. He can technically go from red buff to blue buff to Gromp, and that does give them level 3. But as I said, most people are going to be doing the full clear. So when 3 minutes, 3:15 comes around, you know that he's going to be topside. So you have to think about how that affects you. If you're bot lane, you know that he's not there. You can go ahead and do what you need to do, whether it's taking a trade, pushing it in, going to get wards. You know that he's most likely not there. If you're top lane, you want to know that the jungler is there. You don't want to be taking any trades that put you in a dangerous position. You don't want to be pushing up into the lane, giving him a gank opportunity. You want to play safe. And you want to get your wards down. Well, that's something I should have went over. So at the start of the game, let's say that the jungler goes leashless. That usually doesn't happen, but that's when, he starts the buff alone. All the lanes start in the lane, so you don't have any information on where the jungler is. Something you can do is around 45 seconds into the game. Now you need your whole team up on this. You can group your whole team up and push in with your support. Drop a ward right here at around 1 minute. And boom. You'll see that buff. If he starts that buff, you'll see it for sure. If you see that he's not there, well, then you know exactly where he is. He's on the other side. That way, you can guarantee that you have the information that you need to play around the enemy jungler. Because the jungler is the one, generally speaking, that affects the lanes. He's the the variable that can show up anywhere and affect a lane, whether it's good or bad for you. So you want to try to get as much early information on the enemy jungler as possible, so that you know where he's going to be going, what he's going to be doing, and you want to try to think, what does he want to get done? Of course, again, that does depend on every champion. Every champion is going to want to do something different, but generally speaking, you want to look out for those things. Make sure you try to get the ward down in your games. It's going to help out a lot. Even if your teammates don't use the vision, you can use that and spam ping when they don't pay attention. But that is something you want to do. And for the most part, jungle clear is pretty mirrored. So when you have two junglers that are doing the full clear strat, you can, even though if you see him on the red, he goes away, your jungler's doing their thing, you can kind of expect them to be at the same pace unless someone's making a drastic mistake or they're playing a champion that isn't very good at clearing. But like if you have some of the real meta picks are like Kayn versus Hecarim, they're most likely going to be on the same pace. So when they're on their third camp, you can expect the enemy junglers on their third camp. When they've gotten to their fourth camp, you can expect that they're on their fourth camp. It's rather mirrored, unless something drastic happens in the game, like an invade or they try to do something cheesy, like go for a gank. For the most part, it's going to be same paced. Everyone's going to be on the same timeline, basically. So when they finish their fifth camp, both of them are going to be looking to do their scuttle. For the junglers out there, I know that you want to go get the scuttle, but you do have to look at your laners first. If your lanes are being pushed in and you want to go for bot scuttle, it's not going to happen. What you got to do, you can try to sneak it, but if they know that you're doing it, they're going to come over and they're going to bully you off, and you're going to be wasting time. Something that's better to be doing is you want to go ahead and just back off the map, get your buy, and make sure that you are back on the map as strong as possible so that you can contest other things. Go back to farming your camps or go to look for a gank. Anything like that, that's going to get you more benefit than trying to contest a scuttle that your laners can't help you with. Because if the enemy team plays it well, they're going to come over. If you're lucky, you get out. If you're unlucky, they're going to send you back to the fountain, which is what you want to be doing anyways, but you might as well do it on your own volition. What's a good word? The exceptions to the full clear are champions that want to get ganks off almost immediately. Champions like Elise, Zac, Lee Sin, even Rammus, because he does not full clear very well and he's a very strong ganker. They will want to full clear one side, and now that they're level 3 from the full clear, they're going to want to move forward with finding a gank opportunity. Now, they can come over and do their buff just to secure it, but generally speaking, Elise and Lee Sin are going to be looking for ganks earlier than your jungler, and that's something you need to watch out for. So you want to get your wards down in the river earlier. A general time of when you want to be warding, 2:45. 2:45 is a very good timer to want to go and get your wards down. Why is that? Because generally speaking, most junglers finish their clear at around 3:12, 3:15, I want to say. Of course, that's varying on the champions, but generally speaking, the gank timer is around 3 minutes. So if you can get yours 15, 20 seconds beforehand, your wards are already down. If they walk up and scan it, you still see them, and you know where they are. You don't have to do anything else. You know that they're here, or you know that they're not here. And you can play around that. But once all this early game stuff is over, the general pathing of the jungler gets pretty hectic, they'll basically go wherever they feel is the best place to get an opportunity, and the least opportunity cost generally. So the jungle pathing gets a little bit more hectic later on in the game, but that's when we're gonna want to be pushing in to get wards down. If you have a lead, you're obviously gonna want to try to get wards in the enemy jungle so that you can see where he is, where he's going, and tracking the enemy jungler so that you know when you can and cannot move forward. But after all that early game shenanigans with the trading, CSing, you've gathered yourself a lead. You're in a good spot. A couple towers have gone down. What do we look for next? What everyone is going to want to be looking for is grouping up for the main objectives: Dragon and Herald. Herald spawns at 10 minutes, Dragon spawns at 5. But taking Dragon on spawn is a little difficult without having a substantial lead at that point in the game. So what you're going to want to do is, once you have gathered yourself a lead, you're going to want to get, everybody involved, bring everybody over to the Dragon Pit. Make sure that your jungler is there. You're going to want to get wards around the Dragon to make sure that the enemy, you see the enemy coming in, and look to fight. If they don't want to fight and they want to just give you the Dragon, go right ahead, take the objective, easy peasy. But if they want to try and contest, and let's say they want to bring everybody in for the squad to come over and try and fight this, you have to make sure that at the very least you're matching in numbers or outnumbering them. So if you went for this position, let's say that you're red side, and you've decided to start the Dragon with 4 people, and they've brought all 5. You're going to want to have your top laner somehow come down and come to this fight as well. Because if you're fighting 4v5, and you're trying to get the Dragon, you're fighting down, at the very least, 4 abilities, excluding summoner spells. That is a huge, even if you're ahead in gold or experience, that is a huge detriment to your team fighting capabilities. And just having that extra person there means so much, even if they're not very strong. So you have a couple options. Let's say that your top laner, didn't take TP or can't make it there, and he's just pushing. You have a couple options. You can either try to burn the Dragon and then get out before they can initiate the fight, or you can try to win the 4v5 if you think you're strong enough. Again, I wouldn't recommend that, but the best way to do that in this scenario specifically would be to try to force on the weaker side so that they have to chase in, and you can try to get rid of these 2 players. And if you're successful, then you're fighting a 4v3. That's a lot more winnable, even if you've lost a little bit of HP and health from getting rid of these guys. That's a lot more winnable than fighting the actual 4v5. So you're going to want to look for opportunities like that. If they do not give it to you, and they fight, front to back, walking into you like this, it is going to be really hard to win that fight. I would recommend backing off and trying to get something else. Because if you force, let's say you start the Dragon, and you force yourself into a team fight where you're outnumbered. If you lose the team fight and lose the Dragon, you're then allowing the enemy to go over to the other side of the map and get the objective for free as well, because everyone's going to be, back in base. We don't want to do that. That is a huge throw. I would recommend, if they want to group up like this, back off, let them get the Dragon, and try to get objectives somewhere else, like bot tower, going to mid lane, trying to get mid tower, or letting your top laner get the top tower. It's not the best case scenario. If you're ahead, you'd want to get that team fight in, but if it isn't given to you for whatever reason, you want to try to look for advantages somewhere else. You don't want to force a fight that's going to lose you the game. We definitely want to try to avoid that. And to reiterate that, most of the dragons are... what's the best word? They're efficient to have, but they aren't going to make or break the game. One dragon's not going to win you the game. 2, 3 dragons aren't going to win you the game. What you want to try to go for is dragon stacking. Once you get to the 4th dragon, you get the soul buff, and that is what really kicks your team into gear. Depending on which dragon spawns, they are all very good in most scenarios. Cloud, a little iffy, but it's still very efficient to have, and for the enemy team not to have. So you want to try to stack dragons to get that soul, but if you lose one, it's not game breaking. You'd much rather lose the dragon than lose the fight, even if you get the dragon, because you're going to get a lot of gold just from... the enemy team is going to get a lot of gold from losing or from winning the fight, even if you get the dragon. The dragon stats are not worth as much as 3-4 kills. They're going to be a lot happier with winning that fight than losing the dragon. Another thing that is very key when it comes to these objectives and fighting around these objectives, as I said, you're going to be wanting to get those wards down, but getting wards down is not a solo mission for your support. That's how they go to get wards down, they get picked, they die before the fight, and you're automatically forced to fight a 4v5. We just went over that's not what you want to be doing. You have to walk in together to get these wards down, to get this vision, so that you are set up to win this fight. Because if you go in no vision, or your support goes into clear vision and just drops, you're going to be at a huge disadvantage. It's not going to work out well for you. It's really game throwing. You're going to lose games with that happening. So you want to get everyone grouped up, coming out of base at the same time, and coming to the objective 30, 40 seconds before it spawns, so that you can get all set up, everyone can get in position, and everyone can be ready to just win this team fight all out. If for some reason someone's taking a while to get there, don't try to overpush. Overpushing before your team gets there, while the enemy team is fully all set up as 5 walking in, you're going to get chunked. Or in the worst case scenario, you're going to be sent back to the fountain with a gray screen. That's not going to go well for you. So you want to take it slow when it comes to these objectives, unless they're making a play on the other side of the map, like you see 3, 4, 5 people on the other side. That's when you'll want to just go for it, because you can take it for free. But if you don't see them, you're going to want to take it slow, make sure your full team's there, make sure that they can't get a full engage on you, and you should be able to win the team fight as long as everything's balanced out, nobody gets picked, and we're good to go. Now, with Season 2021, or Season 11, whatever League of Legends wants to call it, there was a lot of changes with the items. They reworked everything. They added mythics. Almost every item in the game does something different now, and it is a lot of information. Now, that being said, generally speaking, I would recommend using websites like u.gg, Mobalytics, na.op.gg, even Pro Builds and Mobafire. If you're just picking up a champion, go to these websites, look up your champion, see what people are building. Try out those builds. If they feel good, keep using them. If they don't feel good, try to find a build that uses something different. But generally speaking, it is rather difficult to try to learn what items are good in what scenarios, especially since they all do something different. All the mythics usually have an active or some sort of mythic passive that grants something specific in that game. So it's very hard to determine what mythic would be good here, what should I buy next, stuff like that. But generally speaking, you can go off of the builds that other people are using, and if you like them, use the builds. If you don't like them, try something else. Be experimentative. Try something different. But generally speaking, the builds that you find online are going to feel good. It's usually off of a percentage of what most players are playing on the champion, so it's usually very good. That being said, how to use your item spikes, it's kind of the same idea with the level spikes. When you get level 2, you're going to want to look for a trade. When you hit level 6, you're going to want to look for a trade. When you get your item and the enemy does not have their full item completed, you're going to want to look to go in. The items for this season it's a lot more impactful than last season's, but the idea still stands. When you finish a core item, you are infinitely stronger than the enemy on components. So when a mage, let's say Syndra, finishes her Ludens compared to the, whatever other mid laner, finishing their, still on their components, still maybe got some boots in there, not completely done, you are leagues ahead of the other player. So you can look to just trade immediately. You'll most likely win, even if you mess something up, even if you miss a skill shot, you'll still win just because of the item gap that's currently in the game. And that happens for first, second, third, fourth, every single item. If you have an item advantage over your opponent, you can look to 1v1 almost every time. Now, again, this is like the general game plan moving forward with the first 15 to 20 minutes of League of Legends. That's how you want to try to get a game plan moving forward for the start of your games, because that is the part of the game with the least amount of variables. Most junglers are going to do the exact same thing every game. Lanes are going to play out the exact same way every game. And then when it comes to the objectives, that's when it starts changing a little bit. You're going to want to get more preparation, get your team there, get it all set up. Now, I do want to go over the general rules of each role in League of Legends, starting off with top lane. Top lane, I think, is the most versatile role in League of Legends. There are a lot of different champions that do work going up into top lane. The most general ones are things you usually see. Bruisers, Darius, Riven, Fiora, stuff like that. Bruisers, Illaoi even. Then we also got the classic tanks. We got Poppy, Maokai, Malphite, Shen, Ornn, the OG. But really, realistically, any champion can go into top lane. It is a very versatile role. We've seen in competitive, we've seen Soraka, Ivern, Ryze, mages, supports, carries. We've seen Vayne top. There are a lot of different champions that you can play in top lane. So if you're the type of person that likes a lot of variety, although I wouldn't recommend a lot of variety if you're trying to grind solo queue, top lane is the place to go. You can pick anything for the situation that you see yourself in the solo queue game. You need a tank, boom, throw a tank up top lane. You need more damage, go ahead and pick a carry real quick. It's very versatile, very good. Of course, you need to know how to play the champions, but you can basically play whatever you want in top lane. Outside of maybe Braum. Even then, I think Braum would do okay. It's not unwinnable. Now, for the other roles, it is a bit more niche and specific. For jungle, you mostly have the carry junglers and the tank junglers. They fall into two different roles. The carry junglers are obviously the ones that want to farm up or gank heavily to get gold in their pockets so that they can start buying items and start winning the game. The tank junglers are more supportive in their nature. They mostly just supply CC, stand in front, and are looking to engage on the enemy team so that their laners can get the damage off that they need safely. Both are good currently. I think tank junglers might be a little stronger right now, but carries still have their spot in the meta. They still do exactly what they need to do, get the damage out, and both are really efficient right now. Mid lane, you got a little bit more leeway. Not as much as top lane, but there are a lot of different champs that can go mid. Ideally, usually a mage or some sort of caster goes into mid lane, whether it's AP or AD. Ability power focused or attack damage focused. But you usually get some sort of ability caster character in the mid lane. Usually these are long-range characters so that they can get damage off from a distance, but of course that does not always apply. You can have a engage mid laner like Lissandra or Kassadin, someone that wants to go in. You can have a shorter range mage like Cassiopeia, who wants to really be in the fight. But for the most part, it is ability power-based carries, except for the very niche scenarios like Jace, or you can also go a couple of assassins like Diana, Fizz, Talon, Zed. They are mostly used as counters to the mages because it is really easy to kill that squishy long-range mage if you can just get on top of them. So that works out in their benefit. You can also, if you are crazy or from Europe, you can do the good old set mid. I still think that works out really well. And a couple other tanks like Galio and Cho'Gath still work in the mid as well, just due to the way that they work and the way they interact with their counterparts. They work really well with getting pressure and then going somewhere else to get an advantage. But mid is a bit more niche. You can't really play bruisers, or you can play AD carries, but it is not the best thing you can be playing. But for mid, generally speaking, it is going to be that caster mage or something that counters the mage itself, like an assassin. Moving down to AD carry, we do open up a little bit more into the flexibility. Generally speaking, you're going to be in the back line, pumping out damage as much as you can with your team standing in front of you. The only real exception to that is maybe Kai'Sa and Samira. They are two AD carries that really, really like to go in and can invade the back line to put out the damage. But generally speaking, if you're playing the AD carry role or the bot lane role, you're going to be looking to play safe, position well, and get your damage off as efficiently as possible. Now, I am personally a proponent of mages in the bot lane. Most people don't like to hear that, but I do think that mages work well outside of the regular AD carries, Ashe, Caitlyn, Jinx, Sivir, the whole 13 or 15 of them that work well. Aphelios, you can't forget the 200 years. And you could, of course, go with those. They are all very good in the current meta. The items work to them very well. But you also have the option to, let's say you have a bunch of AD on your team, and you don't really want to go an AD carry. You can go ahead and pick a mage. I really don't think they work, or I really don't think there's a problem with going a mage in the bot lane. They work well with most supports because they apply their own CC, and they do output the damage. I mean, Syndra has the whole identity of being the AD carry killer with her R. Why not just throw her bot lane? You can go ahead and do that on cooldown. You don't have to roam, you don't have to do anything. They come straight to you. I think it works out perfectly. You can put Syndra, Vel'Koz, even Karma. Soraka works as well. There are a bunch of different things that you can throw into the bot lane, but generally speaking, it's going to be you're going to be wanting to just put out as much damage as possible without putting yourself in danger, because you are one of the main damage dealers on your team. And last but not least, we do have supports. Support does have 2 different roles that they can normally play. The more general one is the engage support, which we have been seeing a lot in the meta. The Leonas, the Nautiluses, the brand new one, Rel. They all are rather tanky, not as tanky as a tank from top lane or jungle, just due to being on less gold, but they are good at getting engages off, making sure that the enemy team is CC'd, and being a frontline for your team. So that is the general role of support. You also have the more, it's weird to say supporty supports, but that's what they do. They're more of enchanters and healers. You basically, your job is to stand next to the carries, make sure that they don't die. You have shields and heals and other forms of CC, just to protect the people you need to. Otherwise, supports can't really engage. You're going to need to have some other form of engage, whether that's from the jungle or a top lane. But generally speaking, both roles are really good, but it is dependent on what your team has. Because if you pick a enchanter support with no engage, you're going to be pretty sad, because they're going to be engaging on you, and you're not going to be able to do much. Or if you pick a tank support with a bunch of other tanks, and you're all just engaging and nobody's doing damage or helping your carries, then your carries are going to die, and then you're all going to stand there and be really sad. So it is dependent on what your team is needing at the moment. So if you are trying to go into solo queue playing the support role, I would recommend trying to play 2 of each, so that you have the choice of what you can pull out in the game. But generally speaking, that is the roles of the different champions that can go into each lane or role. I hope that gives a little bit of insight. But I do want to end off on just a couple of tips. When you're going into solo queue, if you can have the conscious of your own mental state to realize that you you are tilted, you're not having a good time, you're gonna not put your full focus into the game once you're in it, just take a break. Whether it's a normal game, of an ARAM game, Valorant, chess, whatever, you read a book, whatever you need to do, just take a 30-minute break, step away from the game, don't queue up and lock in a champ you never play and go 0-7, and now it's just over from there. Just back up, take a breather, get back into the game. I promise you the next game you play will be a lot more enjoyable than if you just queued up again. And my second, this is a huge tip I try to explain to people when you're trying to play solo queue: keep your champ pools low. When you're choosing to play competitively in solo queue, what you want to do is reduce the variables as much as possible. How do you do that? Play only 3 to 5 champions. Have 3 for your main role, 2 for your off role. That way, if a couple get banned, you still have some options. But generally speaking, you're going to want to play the same champions. It does get a little tedious playing the same things over and over again. But what it does is it hones your skills. It solidifies your practice. And even if you lose with a champion, don't get tilted and say, oh, this champion, blah, 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 I'm playing what beat me. No, just play what you were playing. Next time, what happens in that game happens to you, you'll be prepared. You don't want to add extra variables to your game. You want to keep it as smooth as possible. And just playing the same champs over and over again, that's going to get you more LP gains than any other tip that I can get you. That is the general game plan moving forward. I hope I was able to help out everyone with a couple of tips and tricks. And now I do want to go into a game, see if we can get some gameplay in, and if I can walk some people through some of the things that I was talking about in game. I do play every role, so I was actually hoping to see if I can get an answer from Twitch chat if they would want me to play any specific role and show my general game plan of moving in through a game of League of Legends. But I'm not gonna lie, I can't really see the Twitch chat from up here. The jungler. What does? Is there any way that we can do a poll in the chat?
Poll? Oh, I see.
I see do top. Hold on. Hold on, guys. I think we're getting the poll in right now. I don't know how many viewers we got. I think that says 3. We'll get a poll real quick. See what lanes we want to do, because I think we might have time for 1 or 2. All right, I see we've got 2 votes for top lane, I think. It might be the way we go. But before I do hop into the game, I know that I may have been a little all over the place with my explanation of things, but does anyone have any questions? Anything that you'd like me to try to answer in regards to League of Legends? Anything that happened in your games and maybe I can try to help you out with? This is the Q&A session. We got around 10 minutes before I try to hop into a game here and show some other tips and tricks. Any? That's okay. I think we've got 2 people saying top lane, so I think we'll do top lane for the first game, which will be good. I can get that. Here we go. Alright, so generally speaking, when I queue up for top lane, of course this isn't given to me all the time, but I generally want to look for a counter pick. If I can trade with somebody, I will ask, but for this one, I will just pick something blind and see how it goes. Because even if I get a bad matchup, I do want to show you guys what you can do to mitigate the damages if you are put into a bad situation. hopefully we can get into a game sooner rather than later. Quick shout out to the FAU A team for League of Legends. We're currently in the playoffs of the Collegiate Star League, and we're hoping to make it further than we did last year. Currently 1-0, and it is double elimination, so we do have 2 chances in case anything were to happen, in case any mistakes. But it is looking promising, so I am very hopeful for that. I hope that everyone in chat can cheer us on. I usually do stream the playoff games on my Twitch, but we are looking to set up streams with the FAU Gaming Center as well, so be on the lookout for that. And I got autofilled. Okay, well, that's okay. Guess we're learning a bit of support. Does anyone have any preference on whether I go a tank or enchanter? Because I can play both.
Ball is a poor alternative.
Apparently we got everybody autofilled. It's a good start to the game, good start. That's okay. What we're going to be looking to do on the support role is I'm going to be picking Rel. She is one of the engaged tank supports, so hopefully I can get an AD that likes to fight and go in. That way we can look to get an advantage against the enemy bot lane and then transition that into dragons. We are going to be looking for that level 2 trade that I was talking about, so that we can get that ball rolling in our favor. Ooh, and Jin, a low mobility AD. That's exactly what I like to see with a good old Kaisa. It is looking good for us. Let's see. I actually don't know what the runes are for her. And this would be a good example. we just do something like this. I don't personally play a lot of support as of right now. I did play it a lot 3 seasons ago, so I do know a little bit. But what I like to do, just go over to pro builds, look up, see what the runes are. Get these locked in. Hex Flash, I like it. Let's do it. And boom, there we go. And we're all ready to get into the game. Now, the enemy bot lane is Jhin Karma, so they are going to be looking to poke and not take the full engage. So our sole job is at level 2 or level 3. We're going to want to try to get onto the Jhin or Karma, make sure to get their flash down. That way our jungler can come over and kill them, hopefully. Or we can just win the lane. It's that easy, right? We do have to watch out for the Kha'Zix. I am going to try to get an early ward down if my teammates want to help me, but we will see. As you can see, 0 mastery points currently on Rel. We'll see how this goes. I do want to try out the champion real quick. See if I can put into practice what I've been talking about. Hold on, let me pull up Twitch chat on my phone. That way I can actually see you guys. Chat only. There we go. Yeah, basically. I heard that, you know, I bet there's a bunch of support mains in the chat that were just dying to see this. So it's good that we're getting them some action that they want. I don't know whose toaster is taking a while to get into game. Hopefully it's not mine. Just kidding. The FAU gaming computers are top notch. I know for sure it is not me. But if they can get their hamster running, that would be fantastic. This queue time is taking rather long. There we go. So since we are red side, what I am going to want to do is try to get a ward on the enemy red buff. Right around here. Obviously, if they let me.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
So that's something that you can try to look to do. It's a rel specific thing, but it is very good to get that ward down. So you've got an... Oh, the loading screener is probably him. See, we know that he's starting jungle. It might not be very good to cheese here because he can come over, but we will try. Why would you flash? Oh no. Okay. It was a good attempt. It was a good attempt. It's okay because he has to back. He blew both sums. And he's gonna die here for sure. Oh, I fucked up. I mean, I messed up. Nobody. It's okay. So what we're gonna try to do here is try to get that level 2 that I was talking about. Oh, what? Why? Okay, she missed. Might be, yeah, it's just over. Alright, jungler wasn't here. Well, good first game, guys. I'm proud of us. Good job. Maybe now that I won't be autofilled, we'll be good to go. And we try again. Yeah, very unlucky start. We'll just have to try again. You know, it is gonna happen. But the good thing is that we got out in 3 minutes, no problem. We definitely weren't held hostage, so that's good to go. But we'll try again. Hopefully we won't get autofilled this game. Hopefully we can get some top lane gameplay. I can play some, maybe a little bit of carry, maybe a little bit of tank, who knows? We'll see. I was wanting to play a little bit of RL too, but Riot said no. Riot said no supporting for you. I wish it was an ARAM. At least I would have been able to play. I only got the level 2. You know what they say, second time's the charm, I think. What can go wrong? Alright, chat. Depending on what role I get, hopefully chat is active enough. You guys will be choosing my champion. Whatever champ you guys want me to play, I will lock it in. No hesitation. You say Soraka jungle, I'll make it happen. You say Yumi top, I say solo kill. Exhaust ignite. Alright, and here we go, trying again. And we get top lane. Alright, we got one vote for the Ornn boy. I'm down. Ornn is the solo kill champ. He's the tank, mage, AD carry, assassin, engage support, top mid, AD carry support main. Very good champ. Even with the nerfs, he is a very, very good champ. One thing that I don't want to play against if I'm playing Ornn, Darius.
Not tolerate cowardice.
Kind of not fun. Very unfortunate matchup for Ornn. There's not much you can do. Oh, perfect. Quinn, everybody's favorite top laner. Let's see. Who is good into Quinn? Ornn doesn't do that bad, actually. Ornn's pretty survivable. We can also do Kled. Kled is not that bad. Kled is pretty good into Quinn. Wukong also survives pretty well, but I think we might go with the good ol' FF in the champ select. Perfect. We're gonna go with some Ornn. Yeah, we'll go with this. Oh, is it not? What am I looking at? What is happening with the enemy team? If I'm not against Quinn, and I'm against Volibear, I'm gonna be very sad. Oh, perfect. Everybody loves Quinn. Got the Voli support coming in, the OG tech. So just as a game plan going in, this matchup is pretty unwinnable pre-6, just due to the fact that she has such a range advantage on me. There is a chance where I'm able to get a trade-off, but it's pretty unbearable. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, this is a pretty unfortunate matchup, but I will try to show you guys what to do in a matchup where you really can't do much. Just due to the range disadvantage and me not having enough damage to kill Quinn outright, plus the ignite, it is not very good. But, looks like this guy is kind of trolling. Oh, I miss. Okay. So this is a clown fiesta. Okay. And the lane is already a little over with that. Should be okay though. I think she blew both of it, so we should have at least less pressure on us in the lane. Oh, that is tragic. Yeah, what we're gonna try to do is just CS the minions, relax, try to get some cloth armors so that she doesn't one-tap us. And let her push the wave into us. So if she wants to go ahead and poke us, that's fine, as long as she can't get a full trade in. So right here we'd be looking for a ward. That's a pretty shallow ward, but I have to get it off. And what we're going to try to do, since she's kind of just CSing minions, so we're going to get a cloth armor real quick. Boom, now she does less damage. But now that auto's doing nothing. It's easy. What I'm gonna do, since I have my jungler topside, I'm gonna get a ward a bit deeper, just in case if the Ivern has decided to come over. Actually, he is bot lane. So basically what I'm trying to do here is just survive, because there's no realistic way I'm able to kill her pre-6. I need level 6, and I need to get my Ignite to even have a chance of killing her. That's why I took the Unsealed Spellbook. But the Weaving is in a really good spot for me right now. I don't have to do anything, and it's gonna come over into me. I can literally just stand here, mind my own business, CS this wave. Oh, I thought he was coming over. I thought my Hecarim was coming, but that is a little sad. But it is okay. I can just relax, get my Bramble Vest. I mean, it is a free kill, but it's okay. now we got the 6. We're gonna try to just shove in and get a back off since we're out of core pots. And again, you want to try to shove in the wave into tower as much as possible. That way this whole wave crashes, and then it'll push back to you by the time I get back. So now we get out of here. And watch, while I'm walking back, she's not going to have time to fully shove the wave. She might even look for a roam here, so I will have time to walk back, no problem. Catch this and be in a good spot to try and kill her now. Might be saying, oh, well, I only have armor. How am I going to kill her? Ornn, baby. We're going to try. Always try to ping your laner missing, especially if it's someone like Quinn, Camille, someone who likes to roam. Katarina is a big proponent, Talon. Always try to ping MIA, because your teammates aren't going to see that they're missing. So you gotta try to let them know. Because if she leaves and doesn't get anything off, then you're winning. Now that they've got the whole wave shoving in, we go to put a ward down. This pink's dead. Get the ward down for Ivern. That was a good trade. Ivern's coming from behind, so we just try to get out of here. See, they send 3 people up here. No big deal. And get my pink ward. And we're back to just chilling. They push the wave in. I catch it again. And what I might try to do, because I do have a lot of gold, just get this wave in. Yeah, Quinn's pushing, or Quinn's going somewhere else, so I have to try to get an advantage.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
So I'm going to make sure Quinn loses as much as possible here. Pushing the wave in, getting the plates, in a matchup that I should be losing.
Ally has been slain.
Not too shabby.
Enemy double kill.
Quinn's here. What did you think you were doing? Get out of my lane. And that's why we try to take the ignite, because it reduces the amount of all-in potential that she has and gives us the pressure to kill. I don't know what I'm supposed to buy. I believe it's that. See, but that was really good. If she came back and just died immediately, that means I've got a huge advantage in the lane right now. Level up. I have TP. I even have a summoner back up. But I haven't had to use anything. So what we're going to look to do is, when my ulti's back up, we're going to try to kill her again if she stays in the lane. So she has to look for a roam. And then we can TP to the roam and just kill her there. Very good. I don't have ulti, brother. I'm here, but yeah, she's gone. Oh, I hit the wrong minion. You know, I should practice what I preach. Should have went into a custom game. Oh, what I can do here, since Quinn is... I'm going to look to TP.
An enemy has been slain.
I can't hit the lantern. What is this? That wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but it's okay. Quinn gets a little bit of an advantage, but we do get a total of 3 kills out of that. It's pretty good. And what I'll do now is probably swap to Ghost so I can keep up with her. Exhaust would be another option, just to reduce the damage she outputs, but I think I'm already strong enough where I can just look to fight on her if I can just get onto her. Especially since I have ulti now.
Turret plating will soon fall.
Since she's deciding she wants to leave, I want to try to get one more plate. Even though... Oh. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. Oh, he missed the E. It's okay. Still pretty good for us. Yeah, so they had 2 options there, is go for what they tried to do, which isn't going to work out because Quinn's way weaker than I am, or they look to go roam. So the Vel'Koz just TP'd and came to help me, and we were able to trade that back no problem. If I was a little bit weaker, or maybe if I didn't have ulti, like they could maybe go for that, but... Oh, she's got Kraken. Oh no, I might die here. No! She got red buff too. Oh, that is my bad. I should have just backed up and gotten my ice on fire. I probably could have done a lot more there. Yeah, I greeted for trying to push the tower, but it's not worth it. So what we're gonna do... yeah, we're getting plated.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain. Double kill.
Okay.
Triple kill. Shut down.
So even with the death, like, I am still stronger in this lane. Once I get my plated, I'll be in a really good position. Because Quinn won't be able to basically do damage to me. The red buff was the real problem there for the slow, but... We'll see. There we go. Try to get this in. Quinn's most likely trying to make a play down there. I can't realistically get there.
Has been destroyed.
Okay. Okay. Okay, there we go. Engage happened a little late, but it's okay. Yeah, Quinn is just destroying me. We're gonna try to build to counter her. So team is trying to get Herald. What we'll try to do is just be there to help them out with this. Oh. Quinn one-shot my jungler. Okay, they got two people bot lane, so we're just gonna sit back, relax, see what they try to do. Oh, what the fuck? What the hell? What are these people doing? What? I don't know why they're sending 3 people after me. Maybe they just don't like me. Okay, we got Ori down here catching. We're not really trying to get anything done, we're just trying to still scale up, get some more items, become unkillable. Because it's just really hard to fight a lot of people on their team. Does he get it by himself? Awesome. There we go. Try to get this in real quick. And get off the map. And we can TP back to the dragon, because our team is going to fight for this.
Shut down.
Ooh, solo kill top lane, let's go.
An enemy has been slain.
Is there a TP ward? I can't TP at anything. There we go. Just try to push her off.
Shut down.
Oh, this is bad.
You have been slain.
Oh yeah, that was a bad fight. But that's okay. What do we want to do? Let's see. Probably want to get this. And we can look to make a play. I don't think Baron is a very good play for us, so we can try to make a play bot lane, because they're sending people. I think I might try to kill this Aphelios. Yeah, they are just roaming all over the place. I think if we fight them all together, though, we should be good to go. So I'm going to try to just group with my team here. Quinn's coming over. I just don't want to show. Oh, that's a good kill. There we go, there we go. That's a good fight. All I wanted to do there was make sure that they didn't see me in the mid lane, so that they would still try to fight my team thinking that I wasn't there. That way I can drop the ultimate from a good angle and try to get multiple people. I'm gonna push this in. We'll want to back up. I want to give it to Hecarim, because he's the strongest. And since we have a lot of money, what we want to do is clear out their jungle camp so they get less money and income, and then... oh, this might be bad. Okay, okay, they can have their jungle camps, it's fine. Okay. Oh. Doesn't kill. Oh. Oh! Oh, the Gale Force. I saw the pig to go in. I decided I wanted to go in. That's just how it is. Yeah, maybe if I aimed at the Jinx, we actually could have done something. But the Ivern is just too hard to kill when he's that far away. Let's see. We'll do... We'll do exhaust for this fight. And I'm just gonna run over. Yep, Quinn just gets bullied by the Hecarim. Holy. Okay, my team did not follow up with the 3-man E. I thought that was game winning right there, but I guess not. Okay, so Thresh goes for the flash hook, doesn't manage to land it. Ophelio shooting from the other side of the wall. Vel'Koz landing the damage. Can he finish them off? Let us see. Okay, Hecarim is coming in for the cleanup. Quinn isn't there, cannot help. Hecarim comes in for the entirety of the enemy team. And there we go. Our choices are Baron or End, and I think we can End. There we go. Not the cleanest game, but we did manage to get the level 6 trade-off to kill the enemy laner. The level 2 couldn't really happen just due to the range disparity. And we did mess up a few times at the team fights, but not too terrible overall for how bad that lane is. And it is 1:45. I don't think we'll have time for another one, right? One more? Yeah, we can make a... Yeah, if we can hop into another one. We'll do Phil this time, see what role that Riot wants to give us. And we'll try to make it a little bit cleaner than that one. Hopefully we don't get counterpicked into the oblivion and have to claw our way to be useful. Hopefully it'll be a little bit easier. But yeah, I think that game, outside of the level 1 shenanigans that kind of crippled me, I think we were able to come back pretty well. The solo kill is what really brought me back into the game, and that's something you can look to do. When the enemy top laner or enemy laner in general has an ultimate that isn't very impactful, like let's say Quinn is impactful, but more for the movement speed she gets than the damage. Like things like Karma, Jace, other things like that, you can look to take a trade with your ultimate that does more, and try to win a fight that way, even if you're behind early. Ooh, and we've got the mid lane. Very nice. I think I will try... Why is Vel'Koz not a mid laner? What is this? And we will get rid of Viego.
My heart was already broken.
So the idea going into mid lane matchups obviously depends on who you're fighting. But in the case of fighting a regular, another mage, it's going to be all about who gets the push on the wave. You're always going to want to try to have push so that you can be the first one to rotate for your team. And also, since you have more minions, it's harder for them to land skill shots through the minions. Of course, it doesn't matter for champions that their abilities go through, but generally speaking, having more minions is very beneficial. Hopefully that's not Lucian mid, because Lucian mid is not very fun to play against. But I will play the matchup anyways, because... as long as I land my skill shots, I win. It's that easy. But we will see. I'm pretty sure this is the build. Actually, I'm almost 100% positive it's go something like this. It might be stopwatch. Actually, I'll probably go stopwatch. And we'll do biscuits. I'm positive it's something like this, but if you are ever unsure, real quick Google search. And this is what I do for most champions that I don't play very often. Just look up what the pros are playing, see what everyone thinks is good, and it gives you a good general idea. And whatever you don't like about that build, like let's say you want to swap the Mana Flow Band for the Nimbus Cloak because you like the movement speed when you flash, it helps you get out. That's personal preference, you can go ahead and do that. But generally speaking, you'll want to get your runes from what everyone seems to be playing. Of course, you can, once you get more used to a champion, you can say that you like playing with other things, but when you're learning, you should try to go with what is popular. And okay, so we got a jungle game. Not too shabby.
My heart was already broken.
What we're gonna try to do let's see. I do think that Shyvana has been really, really strong as of recent. She is kind of boring. Not gonna lie, she is rather boring. She farms until 6, and then she spits fire at people. You know, pretty lackluster. You can always go for Chinese aggression Li Xin. It's, that's always popular. My Lee Sin is not the cleanest though, so we'll have to see. Okay, so they do pick the Nidalee. Heavy invade jungler. Very scary. If she lands spear, I lose the trade. Very spooky. And another dodge. I think today's just unlucky. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. People don't want to play League of Legends with me. It's very sad. But it is what it is. We'll get into this next game and be good to go. Hope everyone's staying safe out there on this Sunday afternoon. Hope you're staying warm if you're not in Florida. If you are in Florida, I hope it's breezy near you. I actually really hope we get a mid lane game. I think Vel'Koz is a really fun champion. Can show a lot on what you want to do with the wave control early on. Oh, and we get 80 carry. Another good roll. The real question is, what should we play? I am a fan of the Vel'Koz bot lane, but my teammates might not be, so I do want to try to keep the game going on for more than 3 minutes, so I might pick a normal 80 carry.
Is a poor alternative.
But we will see. If they pick 80 top lane, another Quinn. They pick a Quinn. Okay, an Aatrox, yeah. Let's just make sure. A Peacock? Question? You always gotta make sure. Can't trust anybody. Can't expect them to do it, but you always gotta ask. Ooh. Ooh, a Latios. Let's see. You know, I do think the Vel'Koz would not be bad here. I will go ahead and lock it in. I just want to show you guys that, you know, mages do work in the bot lane, even if some people will tell you no. Things like Syndra, Vel'Koz, other mages like Swain. I think Swain is really strong in the bot lane. If you're good at the champions and you play mid lane, get autofill the bot lane, just play a bot lane. It'll work out relatively well, I believe. Of course, if they pick full AP, you should probably not pick a mage, you pick an AD. But in this case, I think it'll work out well. Definitely going to be a Zhonya's game with the Rengar lock-in, but that still should be okay. As long as he doesn't get too far ahead, should be good to go. And the Vel'Koz Swain is actually really strong versus the Aphelios. If we can ever get one chain CC on him, he dies. Ooh, the Zillion does save him though. But we will see. Oh, that is so much better. I really appreciate the Sona pick. I might even take Exhaust here, just because of the Rengar. I think it'll be more beneficial. Oh, just kidding. We're not playing a game today. Should I? Yeah, I was just thinking that. Well, sadly, the queue time took a little bit too long. We are going to have to call it quits here. But hopefully I was able to show you guys a little bit of tips and tricks to bring into your own ranked games. And I just want to say thank you all for joining us today. If you'd like to catch more from me, I believe my Twitch stream is in the title of the stream, twitch.tv/TavisKing. Go ahead and go over there. You can watch most of our CSL playoff games for the FAU League team, as well as any other scrims and tournaments that we do. I stream all of that from my perspective, so you can watch some jungle gameplay. And I will be shouting out the FAU streams once we do get those set up when we are doing tournament matches. To be up to date on everything going on in the Student Union, follow us on Instagram at FAU Student Union, and follow the Twitch stream here. Follow FAU Esports. Follow me. Shout out to everybody that let me do this Learn2Play stream at the FAU Esports Arena and FAU Gaming Center. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.